Hello and welcome to the Winterbottom Stakes edition of The Box Seat. I'm Mark Warwood. 9 races at Ascot on day 2 of the TABtouch Masters. We're expecting a partly cloudy day, 24 degrees Celsius. The track to be a good 4 and the rail to be in the 3 metre position. Race number 1 at Ascot on Saturday will jump at 12.55. It's the TABtouch Better Your Bet handicap over 1,000 metres. And in replay, we're going to take a look at Jintang.
At the top of the straight is Showcase, but it's Misty Metal who'd got a length and a half on the Celt, and they've put about 3 or 4 Jintang, followed further back by Stage Man, who's a long way off these leaders, nearing the 100. Misty Metal of the Celt, they're the two fighting it out. The Celt driving it, Misty Metal, the Celt on the outside of Misty Metal. It's the Celt narrowly.
Agent Pippa is likely to be the favourite for this race, but there's plenty of speed engaged in her, Chinetti and Tango Aura, and I think it might set up quite nicely for the back markers, all those horses just off the front, and that includes number 6 Jintang. He finds himself in his first high pressure race of this campaign, and his best recent results have been off relatively fast tempos. Wasn't a fast tempo last start when in that race won by the Celt, who is my second selection here. Jumped out of the ground with the reapplication of blinkers last time out. That was over 1,100 metres. Never have him pegged as a 1,000 metre horse, but he does get the second vote here. Number 2 Zuccaros has had 8 weeks off since his second 1,200 metre loss in a row to Electric Light at Belmont Park. I think we'll be running on quite strongly at the end of this race. And then number 5, How to Fly, backs up 7 days after finishing 4th in the Jungle Mist Classic over the 1,200 metres last weekend. Top selection in race number 1, really tricky race, going with 6 here, Jintang, to beat 1, the Celt, 2, Zuccaros, and 5, How to Fly. Race number 2 at Ascot on Saturday will jump at 1:36. It is the Mum Champagne Crystal Slipper Stakes over 1,100 metres. This is a race for the 2-year-olds. Hasn't got black type status yet, but that's Rawa's intention with it. They're hoping that it's well performed, and we're going to look at number 3 here, Specialism, in replay.
Gonna do behind those. Jevelation is next into the straight. Specialism called upon by the Bullet, leads the way by a neck. Mia Dolce a length and a half behind them. Gonna do dropping off Noble Impact. Specialism breaks away at the 100. He draws the whip. Specialism responds to it, and the grey comes away and makes it an effortless 2 for 2. Specialism.
Just the 6 acceptances for the Crystal Slipper, and it's really hard to go past the favourite here, number 3, Specialism. She is farming these early juvenile races in Western Australia, and it will take a very smart juvenile to stop her making it 3 wins from 3 starts. Back up to the 1,100 metres. I do think she's probably better over the 1,000, but I think she'll be plenty good enough to be winning this unless there's a smart one we haven't seen just yet. Goes on top from number 2, Jericho Missile, as won each of his 2 trials, including one versus Rapid Eye Movement, who's another horse in this race. That brings me on to the galloper with the number 6 Saddlecloth from the Darren McAuliffe yard. Rapid Eye Movement was a long neck behind Jericho Missile in the first trial before winning her second trial, beating Sienna Branner at Larkhill on the 19th of November. And then the experienced horse here, number 1, Sacred King, has got nearly 4, or more than 4 lengths rather, to make up on Specialism from his debut effort. Does get a decent gate here, but impossible to have on top against the favourite. Top selection in race number 2, going with number 3, Specialism, to beat 2, Jericho Missile, 6, Rapid Eye Movement, and 1, Sacred King. Race number 3 at Ascot on Saturday will jump at 2:16. It is the Crown Towers handicap over 1,400 metres. Competitive race this. Let's have a look at the last start win of Arcadia Prince.
Room here as they straighten up for the judge. Well back Arcadia Prince, Ragazzo Doro down to the 250. Mrs. Brown's Boy again kicks a length and a half clear from Mad Brad, battling away Broker. Arcadia Prince keeps coming down the outside. Mrs. Brown's Boy in front, clinging on. Arcadia Prince lunging, cutting it down, grabbed it, I reckon, on the line.
That was a mighty win by Arcadia Prince there. Had absolutely no right to win off what was a pedestrian tempo, and maps really poorly again on Saturday. I'm expecting the tempo to be pretty slow here, to be led up by Spillanova, but the tempo didn't stop Arcadia Prince last start. I do think he's the classiest galloper in the field by some distance, and I think he'll take a hell of a lot of beating. I just don't want to jump into him at the short odds. Goes on top from the likely leader, number 8 Spillanova. Won last start, really good ride by Jason Brown. even tempo all the way around, got the job done by 2.5 lengths, and will have every opportunity on the speed. Number 2, Taxagano, was excellent second up in the Peters Stakes a couple of weeks ago, was bumped on jumping, had to settle towards the rail. That is against his usual pattern, but it was an excellent performance, and he was another one that went in my black book. Add his number 9, Sovereign Trade, made a really positive return, first up without a trial over the 1200 metres, steps up to the 14 on Saturday. Really good race this, race number 3. 4 of my black bookers make my top 4, with number 3 on top, Arcadia Prince, to beat 8 Spillanova, 2 Taxagano and 9 Sovereign Trade. Race number 4 at Ascot on Saturday will jump at 3 o'clock. It is the Amelia Park Handicap over 1500 metres, and in replay we're going to go back 7 days to the WA Guineas run of Platoon.
Gallopurula Saba, a length and a half. Arcadia Queen about to get around the hills with Lady Cosmology running on well as Pike goes to work. Arcadia Queen at the 150 mark. She's a length and a half in front of Lady Cosmology. Boy, she's got them done, and she's going to break the hoodoo. Comes away, she wins the Champion Fillies and the Guineas double in brilliant fashion. Platoon would have to be one of the unluckiest gallopers in WA. Drew the car park in the WA Guineas, barrier number 16. Didn't get the ideal run under Stephen Pardon, but finished quite well, finished 10th in that race, and the form out of that should be plenty good enough to win what is a weak graduation handicap here. Gets barrier number 5, should be much closer to the speed, and will take a stack of beating. Goes on top from number 7, Song of Vincent. Not one of mine, this horse. He finished 5th behind Colourful Chloe at Ascot in a Class 1 last start, but he looks like getting all of the favours here on the speed for Patrick Carberry. Number 4, Deception Game, placed second on his Ascot debut in a midweek last start. That was behind Decoy Noxious, a horse that had gone under the radar after some unlucky runs at Kalgoorlie. And also coming out of that same race is number 3, This Away. That was 10 days ago. It was over the 1600 metres, drops back to the 1500 metres here for Trevor Andrews. And Damien Oliver back from suspension and back in WA, he takes the ride. Top selection in race number 4, it's hard to go past number 10, Platoon, to beat 7, Song of Vincent, 4, Deception Game and 3, This Away.